Sports 1965. The stories, championships, games, and participants who made the most important news. In the spring of 1965, the National Basketball Association and National Hockey League seasons came to a climax with the postseason playoffs. In the NBA, Red Auerbach's Boston Celtics defeated Los Angeles 4-1 in the finals to take their 7th consecutive league title. Following the 64-65 National Hockey League season, the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup playoffs by beating Chicago 4-3. In college basketball, Michigan was named by UPI as the top team in the nation for the 64-65 season. Its coach, Dave Strack, was chosen as Coach of the Year. However, the Wolverines failed to win the NCAA title. UCLA did by downing Michigan 91-80 in the finals. Princeton's Bill Bradley was Player of the Year. Joining him on UPI's All-America squad were Cassie Russell of Michigan, Gail Goodrich of UCLA, Fred Hetzel of Davidson, and Wayne Estes of Utah State, who was killed by a live wire during the season and was honored posthumously. Baseball in 1965 was highlighted by the inspired play of the Minnesota Twins, who won the American League pennant, and the gritty play of the Los Angeles Dodgers, who won everything. Before the season began, the Twins were regarded as a good-hitting club with little else. Their manager, Sam Mealy, said in spring training,
"All I want is that we don't have an interesting or an exciting club. We have a winning club. Too many guys are telling me you have an interesting club to watch. But what good is it if you lose? I want a winning ball club." And
win they did. The Twins complemented their awesome hitting with newfound speed, pitching, and defense. Minnesota easily won the flag 7 games ahead of second-place Chicago, and Mealy was joyously overwhelmed.
It was a great team effort. The guys are coming off the bench, and Cott's doing a tremendous job today. I don't know, I'm so happy I don't know what to say.
Meanwhile, over in the National League, 1965 will be remembered as the year the Giants blew the pennant. San Francisco had the lead in the beginning of September, but folded as the hustling Los Angeles Dodgers won 15 of 16, while the Giants lost 8 of 17. The Dodgers won their 3rd pennant in 7 years, getting total effort out of their pitching, hitting, and daring speed. LA's Big Three, Sandy Koufax, 26-8, Don Drysdale, 23-12, and Claude Osteen, 15-15, pitched the Dodgers to the pennant. The pattern didn't change in the World Series. It took the Dodgers 7 games, but this trio handcuffed the hard-hitting Twins. Los Angeles won the 7th and deciding game as Koufax blanked Minnesota 2-0 on a 3-hitter. For Koufax, his 2nd series win. In 24 innings, he gave up only 1 earned run, striking out 29. Named the most valuable player in the World Series, the classy Koufax talked only of his teammates in the jubilant Dodgers clubhouse afterwards.
And this whole year was a thrill. We were a ball club that everybody said was going to finish 5th, and we lost Tommy Davis. They thought we were going to finish 8th. And we went on to win a pennant, and everybody did such a great job.
In postseason awards, Koufax was also named winner of the Cy Young Award, emblematic of the best pitcher in baseball. As for league awards, San Francisco's Willie Mays and Minnesota's Zoilo Rosales were named most valuable players. Baltimore's Kurt Blefary and LA's Jim Lefevre were chosen Rookies of the Year. Baseball's 4 outstanding stories of 1965 in just a minute. Looking back over the baseball season, 4 stories stood out. 2 occurred in August. At a full-scale press conference in New York, Casey Stengel, 75 years old, and suffering from a broken hip, explained why he quit as manager of the Mets.
If I can't go out there and run on to take a pitcher out, I don't expect to complete my year of service with this ball club.
In late August, the Dodgers and Giants, fighting for the league lead, tangled in a weekend series at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The games were close. There were many brushback pitches, and on Sunday, pitcher Juan Marichal of the Giants swung his bat like an axe at Dodger catcher Johnny Roseboro and opened a 2-inch gash on the catcher's head. Roseboro describes the incident.
Saying he didn't knock him down, we got a strike on him. Then we missed with a strike inside and low, and I dropped the ball. And when I threw it back to pitcher, I threw it back with I threw it hard. Came fairly close to him, and I think he pushed the panic button and said something to me, and I don't know if I started after him or just stood up, and I got hit on the head with a bat, and we really went after it. And then he backed away, and I went after him, and they say he swung the bat 3 or 4 more times. I really don't know.
National League President Warren Giles fined Marichal $1,750 and suspended him for 9 days. Giles was criticized for being lenient. In September, Sandy Koufax aided the Dodger cause by beating the Chicago Cubs, and he did it in spectacular fashion. The southpaw hurled a perfect game, the fourth no-hitter of his career. In December, as promised, the 20 Major League club owners named a successor to retiring Commissioner Ford Frick. His name, William D. Eckert, and Willie Mays expressed the typical reaction, "Who's he?" In 1965, Cassius Clay, or Muhammad Ali, dominated the boxing news. He made 2 successful defenses of his crown, and there's no one around who's likely to dethrone him. In late May, in the unlikely town of Lewiston, Maine, Clay knocked out former champ Sonny Liston after 1 minute had elapsed in the first round. Few saw the one punch that decked Liston, but pictures later confirmed it. Clay boasted that 2 of his predictions had come true.
But I did warn the people to get to your theaters early. I said, please be there early. And I also wrote a poem which ended, this one said, this time I am a bigger fool. I'm flat on my back instead of the stool. Right. And this also came true.
While Muhammad Ali shedded his trainer and wife for not converting to the Muslim ways, ex-heavyweight champ Floyd Patterson campaigned to, quote, take the title away from Clay and the Muslims, end of quote. Clay granted Patterson a bout, but warned he would punish Floyd for his remarks. November 22nd, Las Vegas. Patterson became Clay's 22nd consecutive victim, a TKO in the 12th round. Hampered by a wrenched back, Patterson was thoroughly beaten by Clay. The former champ refused to quit, even though he was nothing more than a punching bag. Following the bout, after an injection to ease the pain in his back, Patterson was carried into a press conference by his aides.
I am very, very sorry because of what happened here tonight. I had hoped that I could give all of you, as well as the people all over the world and in the audience, a much better fight. Unfortunately, I was unable to. Whether or not I will continue fighting, I will make my decision in the days to come. I really don't know.
At 23, Clay is the fastest heavyweight ever. With talent so scarce in the heavyweight ranks, he'll probably reign as champion for a long time. 2 old pros retired in 1965. Their professional experience added up to 43 years in the ring. In October, after losing his middleweight title to Dick Tiger, 35-year-old Joey Giardello, after 18 years, called it quits. In December, Sugar Ray Robinson, at 45, after 202 pro fights, finally retired. Robinson fought in his 40s not for the money, but to win the middleweight crown once more. He won the title 5 times, besides being the welterweight champion once. Most fight people call Robinson one of the greatest, if not the best. More sports, 1965, in just a minute. In golf, Jack Nicklaus won the most money in 1965, Gary Player the most glory. Nicklaus won the most PGA tournaments, 5, including the Masters with a record 271. His official earnings were over $140,000, another record. Player's only tourney win was the U.S. Open, but he became the 3rd man ever to win the game's top 4 titles, the Masters, the U.S. and British Opens, and the PGA. It fulfilled a boyhood dream for the South African and enabled him to thank the United States in a special way.
If I can ever win this U.S. Open, if God is kind enough to let me win this U.S. Open, I will make some sacrifice. And I said this when I didn't have an awful lot of money. I said to Mr. Dye, if I win the tournament, I'll give you the entire check back, of which I'd like this particular case, $5,000 to go to the Cancer Relief Fund, because my mother died of cancer. And secondly, I'd like you to take the other $20,000 and put it into junior golf in some way or other, because American people have been so wonderful to me, and I owe the United States something, and this is my little sacrifice and promise that I had to Mr. Dye.
To round out the Big Four, Australia's Peter Thompson captured the British Open, while Davey Moore won the PGA. The 1965 college football season was marked by the surprising showings of Michigan State and UCLA, who will meet in the Rose Bowl. In preseason polls, both weren't expected to do much, but the Spartans posted their first perfect record since 1952 to take the Big Ten crown, while UCLA won the Pacific Coast title. In other areas, Arkansas extended its winning streak to 22 games and won the Southwest Conference title. Nebraska's Cornhuskers took the Big Eight, Alabama the Southeastern Championship, Dartmouth the Ivy League, West Virginia the Southern, Brigham Young the Western Athletic, Maine the Yankee, and Duke shared honors with South Carolina in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Mike Garrett of Southern California, the top ground gainer in the country, was chosen the best player in the nation and awarded the Heisman Trophy. In the sport of kings, Kelso, the 5-time winner of Horse of the Year honors, was injured and retired for the year, possibly forever. Kelso's reign as the top thoroughbred remains uncertain, simply because there was no clear-cut successor. Many judge Roman Brothers' 5 wins and 13 top-flight outings as good enough for Horse of the Year honors. Car racing's biggest event, the Indianapolis 500, was won by Scotland's Jimmy Clark. His 500-horsepower Lotus Ford hit an average of 150 miles per hour, the fastest Indy ever. In track and field, the Soviet Union's men and women defeated the U.S. after a U.S. men's victory in 1964. The Amateur Athletic Union and National Collegiate Athletic Association dispute was blamed for America's first loss to the Soviets. Legislation may be in the works to settle the spat between this country's 2 major amateur bodies. Meanwhile, former mile record holder Peter Snell retired, and Russia's Valerie Brummel broke a leg in a car accident and may never jump again. In tennis, the standout performances of the year were turned in by Australia's Margaret Smith, who won the women's singles title at Wimbledon and in the U.S., Spain's Manuel Santana, who took the men's U.S. singles title, and Australia's Roy Emerson, the winner of the men's singles title at Wimbledon. As 1965 closed, pro football remained king of the spectator sports. In the National Football League, the champion Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Colts, and the Green Bay Packers dominated play. In the American Football League, defending champion Buffalo and San Diego made life miserable for everyone else. That's Sports 1965, compiled by United Press International. This is Sal Marchiano reporting.